All right, we should be live, guys, and we are joined by Becky. She's finally arrived at the House of the Dragon
Woo!
after
We're
party
Woo!
streams.
live.
We
I've
kicked
made
out
it.
JC. He did too much yapping last stream, so we kicked him out. But we are here in episode 3 to review the episode, talk about our thoughts, all that kind of stuff. And so I do want to go right to Becky so she can
Oof.
catch us up on her thoughts on the episodes, maybe the first 3 episodes overall. Just your general thoughts, Becky. Feel free to let the people know.
Yeah, so it's a no-brainer that I obviously love the episodes way more than you guys do. That's just part of who I am. I've been happy with season 3 so far. Has its flaws, but you guys have already waffled on about all those flaws in the previous streams, so I don't need to say much about those. But this episode, it was. Oh, what did I think to it? I don't know yet. Like I literally just finished watching it like 10 minutes ago, but I liked it. I liked the episode. It was obviously like more mellow, slower than the others that we've seen. There wasn't like action packedness really. There wasn't like a huge battle going on or like, the sack of King's Landing. There wasn't like anything going on there. But I think what I wanted to see from this episode was Rhaenyra readjusting to being queen, like properly, because now she properly is and she's doing things now, whereas she hasn't really done anything before in like the previous seasons. Um, and that's what we got from it. So like in terms of what I wanted, that's what we got. But yeah, it was a mix. Um, I think I liked it. I think I liked it. No, I liked it. I can't think of anything to complain about yet. I'm here to add the positivity in.
Yeah, we got to balance it out. There have been a lot of negativity in the last few streams. It probably will continue from my end, but yeah, before we get into that, Ricky, feel free to let us know what your thoughts were on the triarchy in this episode.
Yeah, I love the triarchy stuff. No, but really, to be honest, and I said this in my review, I enjoyed this episode, and I think this is a good episode, and I think it's the best um out of the four. And I like that we focus so much on Rhaenyra and really get like this is it's supposed to be this conceptual episode, and I think even though it was marketed to be way more than just us spending time at court, because I think we're aware that that's how it works. In like we've watched Game of Thrones season 1 to season 5, we know how that works. But like we're still awesome to get that so late in the show, because I mean from now on it's just fast paced, and I enjoyed that we sort of we're allowed to breathe, and watching Rhaenyra not being allowed to breathe, which I think is a nice contrast. And yeah, I liked it. I liked this episode, apart from two things that I have, but we'll get into it.
Fair, fair. So I'll start with the things I really liked. I liked the idea of this episode. I thought it was a cool idea. If this episode by far the first 3 has felt the most like, oh, this is what the book series is kind of like. This is what I think even made this show good, was focusing on the characters and not so much all the spectacle stuff, which you know each to their own. But for me, I know for me and Ricky specifically, we're more on the character writing side, and so that's what this episode was. So I liked that idea. We spend the time with Rhaenyra and her trying to figure out how she's going to be as a ruler, and even some very mundane things. But when you compound them all, it's very overwhelming. It feels very George R. R. Martin with like how he writes characters like that. And I thought there was a lot of really good acting performances, especially from Emma Darcy. Even Corlys, again, I've been harping on. I really like his character. I will say, like, on the negative side, I still really hate what they're doing with Alicent. I just don't understand the character at all. But we're gonna save that for a whole other spiel. And on the other hand, like I like what they're doing with Rhaenyra, but at the same time, it just like I'm like constantly scratching this itch of like, oh, are we gonna like make Rhaenyra a little bit more cruel? Is she gonna have that more edge? And then it's continuously kind of like, okay, Rhaenyra is struggling with grief, but we're not like taking that next step. Like I feel like we're just holding on to that, like Rhaenyra is still our hero. We can't let her do anything that's like really bad type. But I don't know. I'm kind of like mixed. I feel like I definitely think it's better than the first 2 episodes for me, but I'm not overwhelmed in terms of like I don't think like I don't know if I'd go as far as saying, oh, this was a great episode or anything like that. I'm like in the middle, I guess. But yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about first in terms of the episode? Anything that stuck out in your mind about something you liked, didn't like, mixed on?
Actually, one thing I want to jump on actually that was that this to me did feel like the start of a season. Like this felt like it could have been an episode 1 rather than an episode 3. So I feel like it would have. I think it was because I don't know, maybe the starting scene with was it Damon and Armand, and how that was just like a really cool cinematic scene, and yeah, I feel like that felt like it could have been the start of a season, rather than kind of I suppose we're going into the middle of it right now. So I can kind of see how, you know, like everyone says the first 2 episodes of this season are more like episode 9 and 10 of season 2. And I feel like that felt that way. I feel like if I didn't know what season these episodes were in, I would have assumed this was the start of season 3, which isn't like a bad thing. I mean, it's not their fault. Like they didn't have control over that. But I just thought it was interesting because like I felt like I was watching the start of a season when I was watching the episode, and then I had to remind myself this is episode 3. Like we're getting a chunk of the way into the season now. There's not going to be that many more episodes left after this, so a little bit scared as to what they're going to do for the actual finale for season 3 because we've got quite a lot to cover in the next few episodes. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
I think that's a good point. Ricky, anything you want to add to that on episode 3 and how it might have feeling like the starting of the actual season 3?
Yeah, it like it feels like a setting things up episode. There's lots of plot threads that we're introduced to in this episode with Daron coming into the picture too, and more about Ormond. Yeah, I think this would have, or it does work better as like the premiere episode of season 3, really, because the other 2 were supposed to end season 2.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I agree with both you guys said. I do think it's a little unfortunate that this wasn't the start of the season, because now when I just think of, you know, where it's following, it might feel weird for a general audience member where you're going, oh, the first 2 episodes are super lightning fast pace. Like we're going from thing to thing to thing to thing. And then this episode's much slower. We focus on one specific character. So I definitely think that's very interesting. And especially given how big of a character Daron should be, it is kind of interesting that they've taken the approach of, okay, let's save the character to basically episode 4. Like we haven't actually seen the character yet in terms of actual characterization, I guess I'll say. I do find that to be interesting because I really like the concept of this episode. I just feel like it definitely, to me, gets hurt because it is more towards the middle of the season now. But I don't know how. Do you guys have anything else you want to add on that, or do you want to move on to another topic?
Yeah, it's this thing that we've asked ourselves last week, which was, given that we spent 2 episodes of season 3, basically finishing the second season, how is that going to transfer into season 4? And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how far we are going to get this season and how much stuff we'll either merge or cut or rush or drag in some points. It can be messy. We'll see.
Fair. Becky, anything else you want to add, or anything else you would like to continue talking about?
Yeah, just like slightly concerned of pacing for season 3, just slightly, because of the dynamic where they couldn't add the first 2 episodes onto the end of season 2. So now it's like we're just starting season 3, but obviously we're already 3 episodes in. So I'm just a little bit concerned on pacing. But I did enjoy this episode. I think it is good to have an episode that's a bit more mellow especially when you've just had 2 very action focused ones. And like you said, this one's based more on like character work, like Rhaenyra in particular. But also, obviously, Greece, you mentioned a little bit about Alicent and not knowing kind of what she's supposed to be doing. Did anybody else find her a bit contradictory in this?
I absolutely hate Alicent's character, so that wrong person to ask.
Yeah,
I will say
she
a super chat did come in. I'm not sure who this is for, but
Oh, that's for me. Thank you, Steve. J.R. Martin was a conscientious objector in the Vietnam War. His stories do emphasize the terrible cost of war. Well, that's very true. And the devastating toll of even successful quest for power. This episode emphasizes triumphs are short-lived. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on there. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, I completely agree that I think that was what this episode was basically about, was Rhaenyra realizing, oh, I'm queen now. Crap, what do I do next? Like, there's all these different dilemmas that have come up with that. Like, it's not the end of the war just because she sat the Iron Throne. But yeah, I feel like that was what the whole episode was mainly about, the purpose of that, and also leading into Tumbleton as well, which I'm sure we'll get onto.
yeah, Becky, I just want to interrupt you there, but I think that's probably the strength of the episode. Like, I think in terms of thematically, what I think they were going for in the episode was definitely the right choice. I'll talk a little bit later, but I think they had some problems in there. We mentioned one of them, which is Alicent. So Becky, since you brought that up, do you want to talk about Alicent? What are your thoughts on the character?
So, where do I start? So she said something to Rhaenyra where it was like, "Oh, you're just gonna you're just gonna go and like kill my children or something like that." She made a comment about Aegon. You're just expecting me to make you go find Aegon or Aemond or something and kill them. And I was thinking, but is that not what you offered up at the end of season 2? Like, you basically offered up your sons on a platter to Rhaenyra and said, "Kill them, take King's Landing." And then all of a sudden she was very like annoyed that Rhaenyra was going to try and hunt down her sons to kill them. I was a bit like, well, but you sacrificed them in the previous season, and now all of a sudden you're getting real annoyed that Rhaenyra's actually going to try and hunt them down. So I just felt like I feel like I don't really know what they want to do with Alicent. Like, what is her actual motive? It's like they haven't really decided how Alicent actually feels. So she's just feeling everything, and in every single episode she's having a different opinion. That's what I got from her anyway. So that was a bit frustrating.
Go ahead.
I would also be fine. I mean, not really, but like, if you start this whole concept of her pretty much abandoning the Greens and but not giving a fuck about her sons, there's a limit to how ignorant you are to that concept, because now I would get her not caring too much about Otto dying because he pimped her out, and I think she had multitude of realizations in the last couple of episodes, but then actively apologizing for being angry about that to Rhaenyra is where I draw the line, where I'm like, you don't make sense. This is not how humans react. This is a line that's in a script and not a human reaction to your father dying. And I just think the character is broken at this point, which is sad. Because I would be fine if you change, and I would be fine if you add more nuance. And this was portrayed in the very first season, them being friends and everything. But you should also then change her sons in a way that their relationship is portrayed differently too, because you can't, and Grease talked about this multiple times, you can't check the boxes or certain plot points while also straying away and making her almost an ally of Rhaenyra. So this is where it gets iffy, because now Alicent is an ally, but she's not allowed to support. She's then obviously not allowed to support her sons, and so while simultaneously then being angry with Rhaenyra for killing her father in the last episode, and then in this episode we start off and she apologizes for being angry about Rhaenyra killing her dad, and it's like this constant back and forth. Now I'm trying to make sense of it, and I really can't. It's nuts. It's like a ping pong
You're a
match.
better man than me, Ricky. Every time I see Rhaenyra and Alicent on screen, I roll my eyes because I'm just like, oh my god, these characters don't make sense anymore. They don't function. Alicent she just killed your father in front of you. And I know, like, oh, they had a turbulent relationship. The last time we saw them on screen together is episode 2, and they actually have a good final conversation. They like have like, regardless of what you can say, like they don't have a perfect relationship, but they do have those moments where, you know, Alicent does care for her father. You know, she, even though everything that's happened. So it's just, the idea is like Alicent, and Olivia Cook said this in the lead up to this episode, that Alicent does hate Rhaenyra, but it's like, where? Like they have one little like argument, and then all of a sudden Alicent's like, I'm sorry, you know, that was out of pocket. Like,
yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. Again, this goes back to, and I don't want to harp on this because I harp on this every single stream. It's just, why were we so angry at episode 8 of season 2? It's not because we've hated Alicent this whole time. Alicent used to be one of my favorite characters in the show, and now I despise seeing her on screen. So, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about on Alicent? I've said my piece on this character for like 3 episodes straight.
She's just very inconsistent. That's all. She's just inconsistent. Like, you just never know what she's going to do in an episode, because she doesn't really have much of a plot, but she also doesn't seem to make up her own mind on things. She keeps changing her mind. And then, like, one of the things that I really wanted to see from this episode was like immersion from Alicent about Otto's death. And I feel like we didn't get that. Like, she just didn't really, like, I don't know if we just skipped over that part, but she like didn't really show much immersion really, other than one conversation with Rhaenyra where she made Rhaenyra try to feel guilty for executing Otto. But then that was it. And then she just glided over it. And I was like, I mean, your father's just died. And she hasn't really shown like any immersion or remorse or anything. So yeah, I don't know if they were just kind of speeding up her plot by skipping over the emotional impact. But I just wanted to see a little bit more. Like we got emotion from Rhaenyra when Jace died. Why can't we get a little bit from Alicent when her dad died, just to give her a little bit more layers? I think she's very surface level at the moment, and we don't really know what she's going to do next because she doesn't seem to have a consistent mind. So yeah, that's my piece on Alicent. She's not my favorite character at the moment.
Ricky, before you go,
that is exactly. I totally agree.
Go ahead.
Sorry, just real quick.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with you, Becky, and that's what I tried to say earlier and failed terribly. Is like they stripped away the agency and failed to replace it with something that's meaningful. In this case, if she is not devastated by her father dying because she's been used by him as a political tool and everything, she could at least have a conversation about that and then verbalize those complex feelings. And she's stripped away of being interesting. She's just there to move the plot along now, and this is such a pity, because you have a fantastic actress, you have 3 fantastic actors, in that scene with Rhaenyra, and you could have used that and had something that's more than just, well, I killed your dad, oopsie, sorry, oh well, I could send him to the Night's Watch, oh whoopsie. And she's just responding to that and not really making sense, because she's a mother, she's a daughter. Those are very interesting topics. Let's get talking. And she doesn't. And yeah, but you go, Eric. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna add to Becky's point. I mean, this is what she's done for basically 2 seasons now. Season 2 was the same way. Season 2, her grandson dies, and there's almost no like reflection of that on Alicent at all, and it doesn't last for the season. And even they did it in this episode as well. It's more about Alicent, Helena's self-freedom than it is like, oh, you know, I should be having this deep emotional conversation. My father has just died. Like, how does that impact me? Like, that complex relationship, how does that affect her as a character? She's lost someone that's probably been the most influential person in her entire life, and that's just glossed over in the episode. I don't know. It's weird because Becky even pointed out with Rhaenyra, we have a character that is very different. Like, we see Jace in like Rhaenyra's imagination or not in the episode, so you can feel that. So I don't know, just very strange the way they've written the character, but I feel like we should probably move on. But
yeah.
yeah. So let's kind of like just start where the episode started itself. I want to ask you guys about what did you think of the Daron plot? That was a big part of the episode as we start there with Daemon and Ormond and the fake Daron plot that's been leaked for literally like a year now at this point. But Becky, what did you think of the fake Daron plot that was running throughout the episode?
Well, I wish I could say it was a surprise for me, but the leaks all got spoiled like a few days ago, so I was fully expecting that to happen. But some comments actually that I was just keeping an eye on as we were talking, but they made a very good point saying like, why would Daemon be so keen to take this Daron without Daeron's dragon? So it's like this little boy just walks along with him, and like, I mean, the proof that it would be Daron would be the dragon. Like, you've never seen this boy in your entire life, or at least for a very, very long time. I mean, even Alicent said she's seen him once in the past 5 years. Nobody really knows what he looks like. So you're just going to believe any kid with long blonde hair is a Targaryen. So yeah, I think it was a bit rash of Daemon, to say the least, to just happily accept this kid as being Daron, and obviously we know it was a Fernie. Weird plot, though. Isn't that like really weird? I mean, I'm interested in it, but it just feels very weird that they've just got like a fake. I mean, is it because there is no kind of young Griff storyline in Game of Thrones, so they've taken
Let's go, young
inspiration from
Griff.
that? You know, Fagon, all that stuff. Now we've got Faron. It doesn't really work the same way, but
Hey, Becky, you haven't finished Game of Thrones. You don't know. Young Griff could be lurking in the shadows at any moment.
highly doubt it. I feel like it would have been spoiled for me already if it was.
Maybe
yeah,
young
I
Griff
think-
shows up in House of the Dragon and he has Nettles on board.
Oh,
No.
Plot
Ariane will
twist.
be with him for our queen. Ariane will show up.
basically all the amazing underused characters. I mean, they're not even underused; they're just not used. But yeah. So what was I going? Yeah. So I don't really know what my thoughts are on the Daron plot. To be honest, it's too early. It's 3 a.m.
That's fair, Becky. Bricky, thoughts on the Daron plot of this episode specifically?
That's what I was about to say. I can't really go into specifics without like dancing over what I'm trying to say. I think it's a choice. We'll see how it develops.
It's a choice of all time, as Ricky would say.
It's a choice of Old Town. Yeah.
Okay, well, I will say, yeah, I'm not very pleased with the Daron plot line. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I like Becky, you said, what chat said. So Daemon's just like, I'm gonna rock up. I'm gonna somehow take Daron because he looks Valyrian. I mean, and then also his dragon, which would also be very important because theoretically, if the plan is you're gonna kill Daron, why would you leave his dragon for somebody else to then claim that might then oppose you? So like, any way you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. Because you'd be thinking, oh, well, okay, if you're actually Daron, go up to Tessarion and just like pet Tessarion or get on it, just to like prove validity-wise that you are the kid you're supposed to be. And so then by the end of the episode, we're told off screen that Tumbleton has been taken, Daron is there with Tessarion, has gone in the gate, and that. But I'm like, how you're telling me there's no scouts or anything? Like, massive troop movements don't just happen and nobody knows. Like, this isn't like Robb Stark at the Whispering Woods stuff. Like, that just doesn't happen. So I was kind of like, okay, that's a little random as well. Like, we have Aemon sightings, but we don't have an entire armies moving. Like, we don't have those sightings.
You're not supposed to think about that because
I know this is where the
Redfall,
problem I get
fish
into.
feed, fish feed, everything happened in the span. Battle of the Gullet, the taking of King's Landing, the fall of King's Landing. All of that happened within a couple of days now. So these people had rough days. If you even think Preston Jacobs did this, like he sort of drew an outline or a timeline on how many days moved, and the dragon seeds were just chilling next to God's while fish feed was happening. So you're not supposed to really think about all of that because then it falls apart like a card house. But yeah,
Ricky wants to say so much, but he can't. He just like, just like I could
Spoilers.
say it, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for episode 4 stream. Well, Ricky will be able to
Mm.
say a bunch of stuff about it.
He'll let everything out.
And watch out. I can say that much. Watch out for another interview this week around Friday, Saturday ish.
W plugs.
I'll tell.
Fair. Anything else you guys want to talk about with Daron before we move on to maybe a different section of the episode?
Someone in chat said we saw Torrin Mandalay, so we have our very own changing it to 2 Dawn Boys that I mentioned last stream. I mean it. I meant that specifically for this change. Our boy Bartimos Celtigar is just chilling at Dragonstone now, and seems to be a big change. And I'm interested, or it's going to be interesting to see if Unwind Peak even arrives in this show, because they might just change it all together and make it their own thing, like a separate Dragonstone, which is crazy. A separate Dragonstone crew that's anti-Rhaenyra, that's just waiting for what happens in the end.
You're really dancing
already
on eggshells right now.
So yeah, what do you guys think about Bartimos Celtigar not being the tax man?
I'll say this for everybody that has never read Fire and Blood, and that honestly people that have even read Fire and Blood that haven't read it in a while, because this show does not care. Like, he is basically not a
There
character.
are so many scenes of Bartimos Celtigar being like offended with everything. Like, can you do that? We had like 17 billion scenes of that where he was sitting around that table.
And
Like,
that's
at
why
this point,
nobody
we know
remembers.
that much. So, I think it's an odd choice to include Torrin Mandalay now. Which I like. I like the actor. I think he was fantastic in Fantastic Beasts. Has great acting chops. And who am I to judge? But his English is not very northern. It's very American. It's like, you are the queen.
This is things only you pick up on, Ricky, as being an actor.
It's not a very northern Sean Beanish, and I don't know if you agree with me, Becky. I mean, you're
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's not very Yorkshire, which tends to be the accent that most of the people who are trying to be northern try to take on board. But no, I agree. I think at this point it's helpful for me to just remember the book doesn't exist and that the TV show is just the TV show, because there's a lot of changes. So I think I'm past the point where I'm like, oh, this is what Fire and Blood did. It's too different. So I'm just a bit like, I'll take each episode as it comes.
So you don't give a fuck that Bartimos Celtigar is now not.
Enough.
Bartimos
clearly
Celtigar
care.
is my favorite club shitter. It's like such a
Okay,
goofy
dude.
name.
Okay,
It's such a goofy name. It's such
Ricky.
a funny name too. Like,
Ricky, of all the things they have changed or cut from this book, that guy is not on. He's not cracking the top 50. Okay,
oh come on,
Shido could stay on Dragonstone.
come on, Bartimos Celtigar.
They can just put in
Kind of
some other
mate.
random schmuck that isn't doing good with raising the finances. It'll be fine.
I think Ricky's the only person who cares about this.
Which is
Yeah, I
crazy.
know, like-
Because usually I'm the Fire and Blood guy. Oh, the books, they did it this way.
No, I don't really care. Like, I don't really care. I think I just wanted to hear you guys' opinion about it. But I guess it's just not that much of a thing.
Ricky got shot down. Dude. He was expecting us to crash out.
Oh, sorry to disappoint. Just don't care enough.
Okay.
Okay, well, in all seriousness, because we're professional around here,
Mm.
let's talk about, I think, a plot line that was very interesting and that I've liked all throughout this season. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Let's go to you first, Ricky, because I know you've been a big fan of this storyline. What did you think of Corlys in this episode, and I guess the Velaryon / Rhaenyra plot? That
You mean Vaymond?
Yes. I mean, Vaemond.
I
Vaemond's
love-
back.
I love Corlys in this season. I think they finally let him be a character outside of supporting Rhaenys, and um, I I really liked all of their little scenes that we got in this episode. You know, the sitting at the table and talking or introducing this idea of legitimizing them to Rhaenyra, to him not giving a fuck at the small council meeting, and then also later confronting her. Felt like uh, um, like a full storyline within this very hectic episode that was a part that I really, really enjoyed. In general, I really love what they're doing with Corlys and Alan and Adam. Um, it feels like now that Rhaenys is dead, they just finally get to be characters themselves. Especially like Corlys is finally stepping up. Feels like a main character now, which he should.
Oh, it's almost like I've been saying that for 2 seasons. But yes, I agree. Becky, thoughts on the Valerian plot?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, I really like everything that they're doing with the plot, with the Valerian plot for this season. I feel like one of the downfalls of season 2 was that Corlys just wasn't used, and he's an incredible actor, he's an incredible character, and he just wasn't really used. But then in season 3, I feel like we've seen him so much, and every scene that he's in just feels like so impactful. Obviously, that the actor helps because he really delivers like the performance brilliantly. But yeah, like I really like him as a character. I like what they've done with Adam and Alan as well. I'm interested in that. Like, that's one of the main parts that I'm like the most interested in, and I just feel like every scene with Corlys I've just been so pleased with in this season so far. So that was a strength for the episode for me.
Agreed. It was definitely. I wish we'd have gotten more of their scenes, less Alicent's scenes. But I just really liked the idea of, okay, now we have Adam and Alan are being proposed as being legitimized, which in and of itself is like a pretty big payoff from season 2, and then having it with Rhaenyra isn't actually going to do that, and it's just like, okay, if you're Corlys, that scene he gives, I know people are mentioning, oh well, he's calling them bastards like in front of everybody, but that's to show that like the anger, the emotion, this guy in Corlys who we usually see is very composed, and he finally just lets it all out like that. That's a very nice payoff. That kind of feels like something you would get at the end of a season to almost his entire character journey. So I really enjoyed him as a character. I really hope we get more of him, and they continue making him a major part of the story, which I've really enjoyed throughout the first 3 episodes. It's been by far the only thing I have not really complained about in the show.
And he just lost everything. It just makes total sense that he crashes out. And yeah, even though it is crazy, right? Right? Like calling Rhaenyra out on her sons being bastards, and Jacaerys lived and died a bastard. It's like crazy because all of them workers were in the background, and but I think it makes total sense, and I just love how Steve Tussauds commands a scene. Like, he just takes over, just oozes charisma, just more Corlys.
I agree.
Yeah, we want more. Put up our pitchforks. Less Alicent, more Corlys.
I've been saying this for I don't know how many years. Give us more Velaryons, because you always get the best actors for them as well, and somehow they never have any scenes. So I'm thankful. Now, Adam, I want to see more of Adam. Okay, guys, start cooking up some more Adam. Okay, we've gotten a lot of Alan and Corlys. We need a little bit more Adam. Okay.
Clinton teased that there's gonna be more of his stubbornness that we're gonna see, and that obviously means conflict. So there should be something soon, and I hope it's soon, because out of the 3, I'd say Adam is he's basically in tuned with his dragon at the minute, which means just war strategy. But outside of that, I'd really love to dive deeper into his character and his psyche and where he's at the minute, because he has to process a lot of stuff too. Because it's just such a unique and cool concept. Them not being or coming from nobility, not really, and then being overwhelmed by all of this power that they just gained. I think if we get more scenes where they just contemplate that, that naturally would just make for great scenes. So I hope we're gonna get more of that.
I
Agreed.
agree with that wholeheartedly. I agree with that. Like, I think that would be such like so many powerful scenes could come from that, because it's not an easy thing to just one day gain a dragon. Like, they all just get into their dragons very, very fast. And obviously, we've seen a little bit more from kind of Ulf, and but I feel like people like Adam, we don't really see much from. Like, it's kind of, he gained his dragon, he swore his loyalty to Rhaenyra, and then that's it. Like, he's kind of done at that point, and now obviously he's just coming to terms with, Papa Coralise. So I just feel like we need to get a bit more from him. Like, there's so much for him to process. Like, there's a lot that's happened for that character in a short space of time. Like, I'd love just a couple of scenes to just like show the emotional impact of that on him. And I think that would be so strong if they did that at some point in this season.
Agreed. And one thing that in your interview, Ricky, that you've done that I really want to see is I want to see more of kind of what we saw in season 2, where you had a lot more scenes between Alan and Adam, especially as the dynamic has shifted. And the actor even talked about that. Like, there is this difference now where Adam has a dragon, very different dynamic. So I'd love to see more of that. So hopefully we can see that in the future. But before we move on, anything else you guys want to say in that section or those characters?
Love him. That's
Yeah.
all.
We're all agreed. Very strong parts of the episode come from those characters.
Let's then move on to, I think, another pretty strong part, I think, for at least most people. You guys want to break into Rhaenyra in this episode? Any things you want to say positive, maybe mixed, or not sure yet, or anything you guys want to look at with just Rhaenyra, as this episode followed so much of her as a character?
So can I jump in with like my favorite scene of
Yes,
her? I don't know if it's like practical for the plot, but I just loved her dishing up rats for all the High Lords. Like, I just loved that. I just thought it was funny, and I like a little bit of humor. It's kind of just a bit like because I was thinking, oh, what feast are they going to have? Because like, I was real hungry when I was watching it. Like, I'm still hungry now, and I was like, oh, what feast are they going to have? They always have really good shots of food. Like, I remember in season 1, they had so many feasts and so many delicious looking like food, and I was like, oh, what are they going to show? And then it was like rats, and I was like, oh. So I just thought that was funny.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Ricky?
Yeah. And I love that Torrhen also brings it up that, her blockade is also partly responsible for that. So there's this nice attention to detail there. And everything she does is thrown back at her. Even this little victory she gets there as a character, or like this little sort of her establishing something as a ruler is thrown back in her face. So, and this is what this episode was about, pretty much. Her not being able to rest at all, not being able to even take in what just happened. She lost her son. Daron comes in, Joffrey somewhere, and it's like this all of these little things that just way too much for anyone. And I think, yeah, it was a good decision to make an episode like that. I think it was really interesting. I can't really point
ahead,
out
Ricky.
like a specific scene that I enjoyed the most. It very well could be the red thing. I just like it that we constantly follow her. It's just an interesting take on that whole, the first day after the taking of King's Landing. Just think that's very, very interesting. It was a brilliant idea to do it like that.
Fair. I mean, I'll say, I guess, of the Rhaenyra scenes, if we're gonna just say not the Corlys scene, but I'll say when she's actually on the throne and you kind of she just feels like she's being overwhelmed. Even the scene where she's like walking and she's being bombarded by people wanting her to do stuff. I liked that element of just, she's being overwhelmed with all these different things. She's now understanding the responsibilities that her father had, and so I like that element a lot of the episode. But I am like, okay, this is the bias of being a book reader. I want to see Rhaenyra actually Rhaenyra, after everything she's gone through, and you have people putting in her face, like the High Septon. Even again, from Corliss's side, I love Corliss, but then Rhaenyra just taking Corliss, yelling in her face, basically calling all of her children bastards, and they throwing their deaths in her face. Like, I want to see Rhaenyra actually like get angry. I want her to like get pissed off a little bit. Like, I want to feel some life outside of just the grief side of the things. You know, her being overwhelmed. I want to see like what they've kept saying all throughout us getting to season 3 of Rhaenyra is going to be, you're going to struggle to like her. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, but we're still doing the thing we keep doing, and she is still the hero. Even in the faults she makes in, say, this episode, it's still veiled behind, oh, but Rhaenyra is trying to do the best for the people. She's trying to do, like, I don't know. That's my frustration, because on one hand, I like a lot of what they did with the character, but I also want to see this character grow a bit, you know, grow into maybe somebody that does some things badly. Like, I think a great idea would have just been have Rhaenyra actually kill the fake Daeron, and then realize afterwards, oh, wait, this actually wasn't Daeron. This was all for nothing. Lean into, oh, my son's died, and it's pushed me to do something a little bit more cruel because she's overwhelmed with her stress, all the stuff. But yeah, so that's my spiel on Rhaenyra.
Do you guys think that they have something big planned and they're just waiting certain plot points to happen until she gets to be that vicious version, like something that's just a show OC, like a show original thing that they have in mind? That's when she gets to be have like this huge explosion of emotions, or because for me this was not an issue for this episode, because I think her being overwhelmed and not really functioning is why that episode worked. So I wasn't expecting her to go full mad now, or like full crazy about even the.
Let me clarify, Ricky. I'm not expecting her to go full crazy, but I'm expecting there to be hints of it. Because if we're going to go there at some point, it can't just come out of nowhere. Like,
yes, they got to build up to it.
Yeah, and the thing is, Ricky, you only have these moments. Every like a Jace moment, you know, you're expecting that's going to push her somewhere. And it really doesn't feel like it has, in terms of her going into like an angrier side or like, it just feels like it's made her grief more. It's made her have more like stressed out. Like some of the things you see in this episode, like you talked about. So it's like, you can't do those things if they're not properly set up, is my point. But I'll let Becky go, because I've yapped a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if they're waiting for something to happen before she then goes into, you know, cruel mode, they can't just make it feel random for her. Like, they've got to make it fit with her character, otherwise it's going to feel very inconsistent. So I think I'm not expecting it right now, but like if we saw like little signs or little like trickles of it interspersed into the episodes, then that will make it feel more consistent later down the line when she does fully snap, or when she does do something that's a massive mistake. But I feel like in this episode, killing the fake Daeron and then realizing that it's not him, like that would have been a good sign, because like obviously she killed Otter with a lot of peer pressure, but I don't know, I just feel like we need to see something from her, because she said that she made a comment or something saying that she's filled with all this rage underneath. It's like, well, I want to see a little bit of like simmering. Like, I just want to see a little bit of it at the surface. If you've got all this rage internally, I want to see a little bit, because like she's keeping a very good lid on it at the moment. So it's like, if she's going to snap later down the line, I don't know, I just want to see a little bit more of a build up to it. So that's what I'm hoping for the next few episodes. But I don't know, if they're waiting for something big to happen, then it might just feel very random when she does kind of snap.
Ricky, I just actually want to address your original question. Do I think there's going to be an event that's going to make her snap? I'm done predicting it. We've been predicting it for years now at this point. So it's just, is it going to happen? I don't know. Like, and even what Becky was adding on what I said, but I mean, just think about what the episode did. It built into it a little bit. It teased it. You know, you see Rhaenyra like over his bed, Daeron's bed, or fake Daeron's bed. And it's like, they're trying to put that idea in your head, but I don't know. Like I, for instance, never in my head did I think, oh yeah, she might actually go through with it. And that's because of how we've gotten to this character. The character has been written that way. But you think about how complex the issue is. You have Alicent's, well, I should say technically Aegon would be like his heir technically, through Daeron if Aemon was to die, all that stuff. He represents a threat, I'll just say, to Rhaenyra's claim. So that's a very interesting point. Like, is Rhaenyra at this point where she believes she has to kill off Daeron? It goes all the way back to Alicent and Otto, all the way back in, so I think it's 5 of season 1, where Otto tells her that eventually your children may be at risk because of Rhaenyra and the claim your children will have. So it's like doing something like that could be very interesting because you can rationalize through why Rhaenyra would kill Daeron. And it's not something that instantly would turn the audience against her because you totally understand where she's coming from, but it might still be this horrible thing that makes you look at her in a different light and start to make this character a bit more nuanced instead of just, okay, we give her the out. Alicent says it's not Daeron and we move on. So I don't know. That's how I try when to give criticism and complain about things, try to go with what I would do instead. But yeah, feel free, guys, to add or critique or whatever of what I just said.
Do you think it's because they're saving up for, and not trying to spoil, but like for the Lannister opportunity that they have this season?
I mean, it probably might be, but I mean, it's just.
Or is it gonna be, oh, whoopsie, it's accidentally?
Probably that.
I just think the point
Lost
is like,
control over the night.
we're trying to stall her character to get to that point, and it just feels very unnatural.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Becky, anything you want to add to that before we move on?
Yeah, it's like you've said, it's that natural progression, which I think is what they need for all characters for it to make sense. Like, otherwise it just becomes across as inconsistent. But we'll see. Obviously, she's only just arrived in King's Landing. She's got a lot on her mind. She's trying to deal with dilemmas that come with having the throne, and they're poor. Their finances aren't great. Maybe she's focusing on all that rather than being ragey. But when the dust starts to settle a little bit more, or depending on what happens in the next episode, for example, Tumbleton, etc., then maybe we'll see more signs of her doing stuff that we don't particularly like. Because for me in this episode, like, again, she was kind of like veiled by doing stuff with like the right heart in mind. So it's like I can't really not like Rhaenyra at the moment in that episode. I felt for her. She's very overwhelmed. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. She hasn't really done anything in that episode for me to be like, oh, like, don't really like that. So that hasn't happened yet. So if they're saying that will happen by the end of the season, that we won't really like her very much, or we'll find it hard to like her, then there does need to be that natural progression for it, because right now I'm not getting that vibe from her, but we'll see.
Yep. Oh, I do want to address this. Yes, nuance can be done without murdering Daeron, for instance, but like, I'm giving you an alternative of what they have presented. In my canon events, there would be no fake Daeron plot to begin with, but I'm just adding to the fact that, like, okay, you do a fake Daeron plot, and so it should have some, Rhaenyra should have more to do that makes it a deeper conflict than just he was fake. All right, let's move on. It just feels very glossed over to just say, well, Ormond and Daeron, they took Tumbleton off screen. Like, it just feels it just feels like a very big plot device. And we've kind of talked through it in this stream. It's like, there's things that don't really make sense of how we've gotten there. But yeah.
Yes, Jackson. Yes. High Septon literally confirmed the Grandmaster theory, by the way. He did.
He did.
Did y'all notice?
The Maesters killed all the dragons. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
That's all I can say. This book, full of lies. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about with Rhaenyra specifically? With her character?
Not with Rhaenyra, but I just want to thank the person who keeps updating me on the England score. That's made me very happy. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Another thing I feel like we should maybe address because I saw chat was having a lot to say about it. What did you guys think about the Daemon and like Rhaenyra scene when they're talking? Well, Daemon specifically is talking about the prophecy again, and he's talking about like conquering the world and
this prophecy, man. Honestly, if I hear about the prophecy one more time, I don't know. Daemon was a bit odd to me in this episode, but he didn't really have that many scenes. So
you still have to kill Daeron. No. he's a very valuable political prisoner at the minute. Let's just think about stuff. It's like, oh, you don't want to conquer the world with me. Well, gotcha. You still have to kill Darren. Like, no, it's like so Damon acts, which is in character, I guess, is very much acting without reason. I just don't like the connection. I just don't like the constant. I think it takes away from him because
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed with
everything
that.
is about the damned. This prophecy feels like an ad for Game of Thrones Blu-rays. Kind of like that whole talk about conquering the world and going to ET and Essos and everywhere. Kind of feels like something that they've added to add the dots to Game of Thrones season 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like me personally, I can't really feel like take this separately. I'm like, it feels like this Daenerys talk, and then there's this connection that I don't want to think about.
Yeah, fair. I just want to say there's so many problems with that. For one, the war is not over. Aemon has Vhagar, and we're acting like, that's not a problem at all. That'll be solved by somebody. Somebody will solve that. Be fine. Aegon's also just randomly somewhere. We don't know, but we're going to declare him dead. Sure. I mean, why not?
Oh yeah, we didn't even see those characters in this episode. There wasn't even a small couple second long scene. We just didn't see them.
Yeah. And then also, apparently, we're all worried about the White Walkers are coming. That's what Daemon saw, but he's worried about conquering Essos. I don't know about that one, Chief.
You know what? My one gripe with that is now he has to, like, last time we saw him in season 2, it was with Helena. Now he has a prime opportunity to talk to Helena about what the fuck was that astral projecting shit? So there's this opportunity but then you would have to talk about Helena, which, it's crazy.
You're thinking too much, Ricky. You're
thinking
Dreamfire,
too much. Dreamfire is just out of the question for all of that. Because if you're planning on conquering a city, you would probably think about all the dragons that live there. And I know Helena was portrayed to not care, but she still should be brought up as like a threat. But so that's
Daeron didn't matter for 2 seasons, so Helena, she's just there. Don't worry about it.
By the way, hi JC. Hope you enjoy the game. See you next
JC
week.
just came into the chat and caused carnage.
He was talking a lot of smack to Becky while you were talking.
He was. The amount of
Helena
abuse I was just getting.
Chickens.
Helena is just a whole different character, but go ahead.
She's like one of the most powerful characters, but I just feel like no one cares. And it's like if I was Daemon and like say one of you guys had given me all these kooky visions and was showing me like prophecies for the future and stuff, and then we were like in the same building, like the first thing I would do is like hassle one of you and be like, what was that? Like what like, but he just hasn't. So is he just
like,
not
what do you mean?
Becky, I gave you visions and dreams of what's in the winds of winter. There you go. That'll break your whole world.
And then I'll spoil it all online. But yeah, he just doesn't seem to care. Like I don't know. I feel like they just need a scene like that just to add to continuity, because how can you not care about that? Like that's just not a normal thing that anybody goes through. And he knows it was Helena, surely.
But then if you want to go that route, you would also have to show how Helena is that powerful, and there is no attempt at that whatsoever.
And
which
they
I think
haven't considered that.
Three-eyed crow. Okay.
Helena
got a whole training session off screen. You don't got to worry about it. Okay.
So it's like, why? Because I feel like what they're doing with Helena now is adding more comedy and making her more simple-minded than she was before, instead of like going down the path that they've started with her being very, very powerful, like insanely powerful, more powerful than Bran in the books. Like I would want some explanation for that. And there's that one crazy shot of the Weeks Ahead trailer where she's looking like she's possessed. It's it really looks like that. She's like
blame it on Alice Rivers.
watching something, and I wonder what that is.
I'm
That's
concerned.
I mean, well, I can't pull from this book to predict anymore, so I have no idea. No idea.
Yeah, I'm concerned for what it is.
Maybe a green man sneaks into King's Landing and things happen. There you go. Did we? I feel like we've hit a lot of the beats of the episode, but I mean, it was a very focused episode on one single plot. So you know what? I feel like maybe that's a good discussion point. Given we're going to be in episode 4. I think we kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but do you guys feel like it made sense to have in an 8-episode season to have only focused on Rhaenyra and not like the other plots, around the world that are happening? Like, especially with how fast the first 2 episodes are, and they're very specifically focused on really the gullet, the after effects, King's Landing. Do you guys think, even if I know you guys like this episode, but like, I mean, just in terms of the long term of the season overall?
Hard to judge now because what are we gonna do in the next couple of episodes? That depends, right? Because if we then really rush stuff, then it might be an odd choice. But I like it for what it is now, and I might like it for the wrong reasons. I might like it just because it allows us to take a breather. I don't know. What about you, Becky?
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. My main concern is just pacing, because we don't have that many more episodes. Like, we've only got 4 seasons. We're already 3 into season 3, so it's like I'm just a little bit worried if they spend too much time on one particular plot and then they don't focus on others. I'm just interested how that's going to affect the overall ending of the series. So I liked this episode. I like focusing more on Rhaenyra and her kind of struggles with becoming queen, because that makes it feel a bit more real. Like, she's not just naturally, taking King's Landing and then is all of a sudden a queen. Like, I liked episodes like this that show the difficulties that come alongside that, and that is very, very overwhelming. But I think it was a strength to the season, but I'm just a little bit concerned about pacing because they've got a lot left to cover. So it's like they're going to pick and choose what to include. And I do feel like Rhaenyra at the moment is like the core focus of what they're like. Even Alicent hasn't got as many scenes as she did previously. It feels like it's Rhaenyra's story at the moment, is how I got from this episode, is that it's like Rhaenyra. So we'll see whether or not that dynamic starts to change.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think my main concern is just, it feels like the world is so small when you have some of these episodes that really focus on very few plot lines. And as much as I like the concept of this episode, it does make you like question and wonder, like, okay, we're seeing a lot of things are happening off screen, or we're not getting much focus on them. And now, what's crazy to think about, after next week's episode, I mean, we're halfway through the season, and it's like, we have this character of Ormond we have spent barely any time with. We don't even know who the real Daeron is at this point. We have Adam, who we'd like to have more development, but he hasn't really gotten a whole lot of it. Kristen Cole has had, I'm traveling, like, he hasn't had much development. Aegon. So I just feel like this episode is weird because, like we talked about at the beginning of the stream, I think it would have worked so much better if season 2 had been 10 episodes and this would have started the season, because then you don't have these concerns of, we need to be building towards a lot of other things that are happening. We're not really doing that at this point. So I don't know. I like Ricky said, we kind of just have to see what happens, but I do think this will be something that, if the season's good, the rest of the season, we'll look back, I think, on this episode, about the same, like, still very kind on it. But I think if we get to things later down the road and it's like, oh, this feels kind of underdeveloped, you look at this episode and you go, well, we did spend a whole episode on one single plot line. So I don't know, I guess that'll be to be determined.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will. You'll have to watch our live streams afterwards, or Becky's reactions, to find out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot I was doing those. Yeah, feel free to come along to those.
Anything else you guys can think of from the episode that we haven't discussed that you want to talk about in depth, or any further.
Oh hell yeah! One thing, Partimos Celtica
here we go with
Erasure.
this
I will
guy
not.
again.
I will not allow it. It's my favorite club, Shido. Not getting to be, this is gonna be spoilers, but how could you?
Nettles is not a
And
character.
no
in the show, and
Trikey.
he's still
No
stuck up
Trikey in
on
this
this.
episode either.
That's a crime in and of itself, to be honest. We also always down for more Gwaine. I agree. Hi, Ashley, the goat mod. Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot of it. It kind of feels weird because this live stream's a lot shorter, but
Like, what else happened in the episode? Are we missing something? What else happened?
I mean, but to be fair though, a lot of this episode is just you're living as what a queen would do. You're going through the everyday life of what Rhaenyra would be dealing with. And so when you try to look at what happened in this episode, Rhaenyra has council meetings, Rhaenyra sits on the throne, Rhaenyra goes and so when you think about it, oh, what are we going to talk about? It kind of feels more like a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, where it's a very focused plot line. There aren't a whole lot of things going on, whereas the other episodes, it's you have a battle. You have all these different plot lines of where do we think these characters are going? How do we like their storylines? This one, it's, what did Rhaenyra do this episode? But yeah. I feel like, do you guys, want to just do a smaller live stream and we can just get right to our final ratings and stuff for the episode? But I feel like we covered pretty much everything.
Oh yeah, there it is. Matthew asked, "What did your dad think?" We need the dad rating.
Oh, that's the most important question.
So, my dad, he was not the biggest fan of this episode. But he still gave it a 7 out of 10. So, take that as you will. But he was not as happy about this episode because not a lot happened. And within the first 5 minutes, he was like, "Wait a second, what's happening? The dragon's right there. Why isn't the dragon coming? Why?" So yeah, I mean, he wasn't the biggest fan, but he also wasn't a hater. 7 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. But yeah, what did you think, Becky? Give us a rating for the episode.
I think I'm probably a 7.5. It doesn't feel like an 8 to me, but 7 feels a little bit too low. So I think a 7.5.
Becky, can we get a clarification? What are your ratings of the 3 episodes? So episode 1, 2, 3.
Let me remember, because I can't remember if I enjoyed the first or second episode more. I think because I was really excited and I enjoyed how they did the Battle of the Gullet, to be fair, for the most part. I think I gave the first episode an 8. And then I think last week's I gave a 7, but I enjoyed last week's more than this week's. So maybe I should drop this one down to a 7. I can't really rate this one a 7.5 if I didn't rate the last one a 7.5. Maybe this is a 7. Maybe last week's was a 7.5 and then the first one was 8. So we're going down in 0.5s.
Okay. For Becky, we're only descending. We're getting worse, so that's not good.
Oh yeah, that's not a good sign, is it?
I'm getting better with every episode.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite.
Oh yeah, this
Becky.
was your favorite, wasn't it, Ricky? Didn't you say this was your favorite episode?
Yeah. So we started with a 6, and then last week
6.
was a 6.5, and now this is a 7 for me. So we'll see if we continue in this trajectory. And then the last episode is going to be a 10. I'm just, who am I kidding? I'm sorry.
Oh, I would
Dude,
love that.
all I can say is next live stream, Ricky's gonna have a time. That's all I can say. But
we'll see. I get to rewatch it soon, so
Ricky, you gave it a 4 out of 10.
It's like
a 4?
the first time I watched it. Yeah, we'll see.
4. Wow, that's low.
Which is mean I'm going to be giving
We'll
it a
see.
3 out of
I
10.
still have to make.
And
up
that's
my
for
mind.
next week's. That's next week's episode that you rated a 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch it now. That's made me so excited.
All right, so moving on.
Although I gotta
Ricky.
let me clarify it real quick. There's one thing that really irks me, just the concept of something that really irks me, and I didn't rewatch that episode yet. I watched all the other ones 3 times, so I think those opinions are settled. I had time to think about it. I saw that and I was like, "Fuck that," and I don't think that's fair. I'll rewatch and rethink and regroup, but yeah, it's my least favorite out of the 4 for sure.
Fair enough. I'm similar to Ricky somewhat that I've liked each episode more as we've gone, but that's a pretty low bar. I started as a 5, then a 6, and then this episode's like a 6.5. I'm like I'm a bit more positive this episode, but yeah. So as you can tell, I'm still not a big enjoyer of the show, but it did a lot more things I liked, and it still had some things I have problems with. But yeah. But that is our final thoughts. Also, this is my dream. Fire and Blood is signed.
Oh,
That's crazy, Jackson. That's a big flex, but okay.
But only the Jaehaerys part.
All right, you're done. Ricky, you're done. You're done. Get out. You're done. You're done. All right, but thank you guys for joining us. Tell us what you thought of the episode, as all of our opinions are just our opinions. We'd love to hear what you guys think, and we will see you guys for the next live stream next week. Maybe some of us, I don't know who's all going to be on it. We switch every week. But thank you specifically for Becky and Ricky for joining, as you guys stay up ungodly hours for these shows. So big shout out to you guys. Subscribe to them if you are not, or if you're already on their channels. Yeah, just you're doing great. Like the stream. Any closing things you guys want to say? Anything you want to plug or whatnot before we end the stream?
Justice for Bartimus Celtiga.
Those are very good words to end the stream on.
Go ahead, Becky. I gave you the floor. Enough of his yapping.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything quite as inspirational as that.
Okay, your timeout's done, Ricky.
This is
There we
treason.
go, he's back.
No, I enjoyed the stream. Thank you guys so much.
It was a good one, as
pleasure.
always.
Ditto.
And yeah, so thank you guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys on the next one.